Blessings, wild ones, and welcome back to the Magpie Library. I'm Rowan. Today, we're stepping into the feral witchy side of summer. Think soft goth edges, tangled moonlit magic, and makeup that looks like it's been brewed in a cauldron of dust itself. This is part of my Feral Magic Summer series, where we let the wildflowers grow through the cracks and invite a little chaos into our beauty rituals. So let's conjure up this look together. As always, I start with my base. I've already done my moisturizer and my serums, but I still want something that nourishes my skin. So I'm going to go in with some Ilia Skin Milk, which just puts an extra layer of nourishment and moisture on my skin. And you can just use this as your primer, but I like to add a little something extra. So I have the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. From foundation to tinted moisturizers, primers, whatever makes you feel most like yourself. You don't have to put any of that on at all. Sometimes when it's really hot outside, I just put on my moisturizer and my sunscreen and do an eye look and some lips because I know that I'm going to perspire all of my makeup off anyhow. That's why this kind of wild, untamed look really works in the summer because I always look and feel a little tangled and unkept just from the way I wilt in the heat. This step is about creating sacred ground. Right, prepping the soil before planting seeds. You can smooth it with your fingers, with a brush, or use a sponge. Imagine you're weaving a protective veil over your skin. This is the Dior foundation. Every time I get a compliment about how my skin looks, like my skin specifically, I'm either wearing this or nothing. So that makes me feel like this lets my natural skin really shine through while toning down some of the redness. A little powder to set is like dusting yourself with moonlight, keeping things grounded but still luminous. This is a Pat McGrath loose powder that I put in this little container. That's really cute. It's got a little bee on it. You all might be catching on how I feel about bees by now. And I just dust a little under my eyes so that they aren't as dimensional. Do a little around my forehead. Again, in the summer, I need a little extra help mattifying there. And then all of my marionette lines around the mouth. So it's all very targeted. I don't go in with a giant powder brush and powder my entire face. I really like how luminous and glowy my skin is. I don't want to undo that to then have to put a bunch back on. This is a very Gen X perspective on makeup. Brows are a witch's sigil. They frame the spells that are cast with your eyes. Since I recently tinted my brows, I'm just brushing mine with a little clear gel. This is the Refy. I'm just brushing mine upward, giving them a bit of wild, untamed energy. One time I was at Ulta and there was an ad for their brow pomade, and it was a before and after, and the person's brows before were very wild and tangly and all upward like this, and I loved it. I was like, how do I get that look? And then I realized that that was the before, and that it was not a selling point for that product. And then I just do a little pull. Don't worry about making them perfect. Feral magic is never symmetrical. Now for the eyes, where the real sorcery happens. I'm starting with a wash of color from the Mob Beauty Southern Gothic palette. I'm going in with this first shade here, Cocoa. I'm just going to swipe that across the lid and then blend it out with a fluffy brush. This is the hooded eye set from BK Beauty, and I have really hooded eyes, so I really like how little this brush is to like really get in here and and blend out the crease and the eyelid. So where the hood is on my eye covers my crease. And so I have to cheat the crease by going up a little higher than the brow bone. So usually you would stop down here at the brow bone, but I go up above the brow bone and really blend onto that. And then that gives my eyes dimensionality and a kind of a false crease. And then the challenge, of course, is doing the other side and trying to keep it even. Right now I'm using red shades from this palette, which I really like. They're like painting on embers from a ritual fire, bringing intention and purpose and magic into every step of my beauty ritual, or into only one step of my beauty ritual. Whatever works for the time, purpose, and energy I have for that day. Then I'll deepen the outer corner with some shadow that's just a little shade darker. And this color here, red soil, into flames flickering at twilight. And you can blend it out into a wing shape so your eyes look a little more elongated, like a fox or a night creature. I like to keep mine a little more rounded, like a wild forest flower. For the lower lash line, I'm sponging on a bit of that same shadow too. It gives it a lived-in feral softness, like you've been wandering through the woods and moonlight fields all night. I like to make sure to connect the lower lash line up to that color on the upper lash, and then smudge out the bottom. Add just a little shimmer to the inner corner, like dew catching the first light of dawn. A few coats of mascara thicken and lengthen. Don't be afraid to let it clump, just a touch. It adds to that undone feral feeling. I'm putting on a lip mask that will set and stain my lips as I do the rest of my face. It says this is done in a minute, but I find that the longer I let it set, the better it stains and the darker the lip becomes. Onto cheeks. I'm doing a little Dallas, which is a bronzer from Benefit. It is my very favorite, and unfortunately, they don't make it anymore, and they did not make something similar. So if you have a dupe, I would be very, very appreciative. Meanwhile, I've hit pan on this, and I have a mini that I haven't used yet, but it is not long before I'm completely out. Next on cheek, I'm going with a muted berry blush, like a stain of wild fruit, or the flesh you get from running barefoot through the fields, or from it being 102 degrees in the shade. Sweep it up high onto the cheekbone for a lifted witchy look. And then that touch of bronzer can hollow out the face, giving that moonlit, slightly spectral vibe, blending together like a fall. I almost forgot, for the eyes, you'll want to set with just a little translucent powder, because the cream product will crease. I'm going to wipe this off and dry it. For lips, I'm always torn between two feral moods, a soft, smudgy berry stain, like eating pomegranates under the stars, or deep Gothic plum for that witch at midnight energy. Today, I chose to go with the berry. You can see how the Wonderskin stains my lips a bit, like eating berries. And I do add a little liner to this. And then I dab it with my fingers so it looks imperfect, alive. And then lastly, just a touch of gloss. And there we have it, the feral, witchy, soft, gothy summer look. This is makeup for wandering through overgrown gardens, for sitting by the fire with a good book, for laughing with your cousin under the stars. Makeup doesn't have to be just about looking polished. It can be ritual, transformation, and even a little chaos magic. If you try this look, I'd love to see it. Tag me, send me pictures, summon me in your mirror, whatever feels best. And stay tuned for more Feral Summer series. Until then, wild hearts, blessed be, and remember, tend to yourself as though you were sacred, because you are.